Today we got the most overt glimpse we have had yet of what it's going to be like to run for the Republican nomination for president in the next election. Today, Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty became the first Republican to put one foot in the race when he formally opened a new political action committee that he's calling Freedom First. Now, technically, the formation of Freedoms First is a way for him to raise money for fellow Republican candidates across the country. But in real life, it's his I really am running for president for real coming out party. And in the Beltway media, the announcement got glowing coverage. Politico.com, for example, praising his choice of heavyweight GOP figures and key operatives and high-level strategists and top consultants that they say now prove that Pawlenty is a credible candidate for president. That's one way to look at it. Or you could say that in putting together his team to try to seem like a credible candidate for the Republican nomination for president, this little-known Midwestern governor has assembled a who's who of some of the worst Republican scandals of the past decade. This team that he's put together reads like the index of the big pop-up book of George W. Bush-era Republican ethical and legal embarrassments. One of Mr. Pawlenty's new senior advisors, for example, is a man named Terry Nelson. He's former deputy chief of staff of the Republican National Committee, known for being the guy in charge when the infamous New England phone jamming case went down. On Election Day in 2002, the Get Out the Vote phone banks run by New Hampshire Democrats and a firefighters union were hit with hundreds of computer-generated phone calls all at once, which blocked those phone banking efforts entirely. It brought their Get Out the Vote operation to a halt. The man ultimately convicted in the phone jamming case was the political director of the Republican Party in New England. His supervisor at the RNC? Terry Nelson. At the phone jamming criminal trial, Terry Nelson was on the list of witnesses the government said it intended to call, though ultimately he never testified. After his stint at the RNC, Terry Nelson got into the media consulting business. He started up a firm called Crosslink Strategy Group, where he employed a paid consultant and media advisor to the Swiftboat Veterans for Truth of John Kerry didn't deserve his war medals fame. In 2006, Terry Nelson did some more work for the Republican National Committee, which brought him in to run ad campaigns against Democratic Senate candidates. Do you remember the really not subtle race-baiting ad that was run against Tennessee Democrat Harold Ford? You can thank Terry Nelson for that.
I met Harold at the Playboy party.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Harold, call me.
Yeah, that one ultimately pulled off the air by the Republican Party, and the widespread revulsion it caused led to Walmart firing Terry Nelson and his consulting firm because of it. So, phone jamming, swift boating, and race baiting. I don't know if he counts as a Politico key operative or a high-level strategist, but either way, he does represent a meaningful choice for Governor Pawlenty. Also named as a senior advisor for Mr. Pawlenty and praised by the Beltway media for her experience in Washington is a person named Sarah Taylor. The Hill newspaper helpfully notes that Taylor was George W. Bush's White House political director from 2005 to 2007. Why would somebody leave a job like that in 2007? It's an odd year. It's not the end of a term. It's not key to any election. What was going on in 2007? Sarah Taylor stopped being the White House political director. She just stopped. She moved on. 2007.
Did Mr. Rove or Ms. Myers intervene in the replacement of Mr. Cummings with Mr. Griffin?
I can't answer that. I don't. I'm trying to answer your questions and respect the.
Can you not answer it because of the privilege or because you just don't know?
I don't.
And then you said, I took an oath to the president, and I take that oath very seriously. Did you mean perhaps you took an oath to the Constitution?
Yes, yeah, you're correct. I took an oath to the Constitution.
Did you take a second oath to the president?
I did not. What I should have said.
The answer was incorrect.
The answer was incorrect.
Thank you.
What I should have said is that I took an oath. I took that oath seriously, and I believe that taking that oath means that I need to respect and do respect my service to the president.
No, the oath says that you take an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States. That is your paramount duty. I know the president refers to the government as being his government. It's not.
Senator, I can't remember what I had for breakfast last week. I just don't recall any of those conversations.
I assume what you had for breakfast last week has not been the subject of considerable national attention.
Oh, right, 2007. Yeah, that's why Sarah Taylor stopped being Bush's White House political director in 2007. She was quite caught up in the U.S. attorney scandal. And when the Senate made her testify, she said she'd sworn an oath to the president, that she couldn't remember her breakfast, and that ultimately she couldn't even remember why it was she was refusing to answer questions about the scandal that ultimately cost the U.S. the attorney general his job as well as hers. That's why she left that job. Which means that Tim Pawlenty is getting Beltway media credit for picking for his team the phone-jamming, swift-boating, race-baiting guy and the person who resigned in disgrace from the Bush White House during the U.S. attorney scandal. If he picked Alberto Gonzalez to be his lawyer, would Tim Pawlenty get applauded by the Beltway media for another GOP heavyweight pick? You know, I think there's a chance Jack Abramoff might be out of prison by 2012. Maybe Pawlenty could put him on retainer now. He's a real heavy hitter. He's very well connected. As the Republican Party searches for meaning in the political minority, as it searches for a path out of the political wilderness, Tim Pawlenty keeps getting credit for being the great hope for moderation, for a saner, more centrist, more credible Republican Party than was represented by the Bush years and its aftermath. He keeps getting credit for that. But that says a heck of a lot more about the people giving him that credit than it says about him deserving it.